Dan's tied up with a in-flight emergency. He's got Flight 891 that lost the right hydraulic system.
A Northwest Airlines jet runs into trouble in the skies, and we're taking you along for the ride. In tonight's Extra, it's the last thing you want to think about when you're boarding a plane.
But in-flight emergencies do happen, and that's when a group of highly trained men and women in the Twin Cities step in to help. KARE 11's Alan Costantini and a team of photographers were granted unprecedented access to Northwest personnel and its facilities. And while they were taping one story, a real distress call came in. It's a tale of two flights, one perfect, the other forced to make an unscheduled detour.
29ers left, fly runway heading, clear for takeoff.
It's 12 noon. Northwest Airlines Flight 7 is en route to Seattle.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the captain speaking. We're climbing through an altitude of 32,000 feet.
Flight 7 and dozens of others around the world are being monitored from one building at Twin Cities International. This is Northwest Airlines Systems Operation Control, the SOC.
Make sure 933 operates on time.
Flight 25 out of LA.
We have joint responsibility with the captain on each flight.
Kevin Bolt is a flight dispatcher. He and the pilot are side by side electronically as Flight 7 zooms west at 500 miles per hour.
It's just that he noticed that we were slightly south of our regular course, so I'm telling him that we've accepted a direct routing to Mullen Pass, Idaho.
Most messages are mundane, but there is the occasional flight of fancy.
Passenger going in the bathroom and completely disrobing and coming out in the aisle. That's happened. There he is.
Captain Marsh is responsible for the safety of one plane, but Northwest has 1,700 flights each day. Dispatchers like Kevin Bolt are responsible for all of them.
Not all of them in the air at the same time, of course.
Flight 7 is off to smooth sailing, but another Northwest plane appears to be in trouble. Flight 891 is a McDonnell Douglas DC-9 like this one.
Okay, sir, did you shut the pumps off before you lost all pressure?
No, as a matter of fact, we didn't even get any lights or anything. We just...
Shortly after takeoff from West Palm Beach en route to Detroit, it appeared the pilot had lost the hydraulic controls on the right side of his airplane. That would leave him with no backup system for steering and landing the DC-9. The SOC has to make what could be a life and death decision.
He has just come up on Jacksonville. What are your thoughts on him? Not at all. I'd much rather have him go into Atlanta. I don't want to have him continue on with just one hydraulic system.
The pilot is understandably concerned.
Seems me looking it up. Are we going to be able to retract the gear doors, or are they going to be hanging down?
Sir, stand by a second.
Other dispatchers begin to pitch in and help.
Hey, Wally, this is Kevin over here. Dan's tied up with a in-flight emergency. He's got Flight 891 that lost the right hydraulic system.
Yes, sir. It looks like the alternate pump reservoir should power your gear down and your gear back up, sir.
Okay. I hope you can figure out what happened.
Let's go ahead and change your destination to read Atlanta at this time.
Roger, 891. You want the equipment standing by on the runway for you?
891 affirmative. We'd like to have them standing by. I think they'll probably be prudent on our behalf.
It has been just 6 minutes since the SOC learned that Flight 891 had a problem. In that time, the plane's flight route was changed, the pilot's equipment questions answered, and the decision to get emergency equipment to the runway in Atlanta is made. 18 minutes later, the pilot calls again. Dispatcher Jack Bridwell has taken over.
Feeling in a yellow situation. I don't know whether it's a yellow emergency, but it's at least a yellow situation.
There is nothing more for the SOC to do but wait.
Minneapolis Flight 7 on 317, like to talk to dispatch in Sector 52, please.
Flight 7, dispatch is on. Go ahead.
Okay, we were over Dickinson at time 1800, level 390.
Copy that. Have a good remainder of the trip.
The vast majority of flights, of course, are like Flight 7. Smooth air, pilots teaching co-pilots, sharing the cockpit work. But when something does go wrong, the 15,000 men and women in the air crews know they have backup in the SOC. It's now 50 minutes since the first trouble call from 891.
He's on the ground in Atlanta.
It turns out the hydraulics were fine. The problem was a faulty warning light.
The maintenance people will be out there checking the gear.
The passengers say the pilot kept them informed throughout the incident.
They didn't hide anything from us. That was nice.
And as for the passengers, the SOC operations planners already have another plane in Atlanta to pick them up.
It's a DC-9. It's a different series aircraft, but it'll fit all these passengers.
So you can actually just shift planes and get these passengers. How much of a delay will they have, do you think?
Well, if I get going now, they should be touching down probably an hour late.
That's another 747. That's our eastbound 747 to Minneapolis.
For Flight 7, a perfect blue skies flight into Seattle. For Flight 891, a crisis handled calmly.
Hydraulic.
For the men and women of the SOC, just another day scheduling the skies from one big room in Minnesota.
Minneapolis 1064, 1063.
Alan Costantini, KARE 11 News at Twin Cities International.
And we want to point out that situations like that of Flight 891 don't happen every day. Statistically, it's important to remember that flying is by far the safest way to travel. The men and women who staff the SCO 24 hours a day say they're determined to keep it that way.